Hi, friends. I know we were going through the infinite possibilities, and Yash was not just giving the information, she was giving the experience of infinite possibilities to all of us. And that will continue from tomorrow. Today, I just wanted to talk about this book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, a very small book, quick read, but a very, very impactful book because I read this recently, just 5 months back, and it came to me at the right time because when you are in the path of spirituality, when you are raising your vibration, there will be certain kind of doubting that happens when you interact with people. Like when I meet my old friends, my relatives, or old people, I don't resonate or connect with them, and I somewhere in inside the mind I start thinking, am I doing the right thing, or am I into some kind of madness about meditation and spirituality? So this kind of doubt comes in. But when I read this book, even that tiniest grain of doubt got vanished. So let's see what this book is talking about. Let me share my screen. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so this book is all about breaking the limitations. It's the pursuit of infinite possibilities. Let's see what the story is about. So imagine thousands of seagulls flying above this ocean every morning, and they gather for searching for the food, fighting for the scrap, finding the fishes, and doing the same routine day after the day. For them, for all of the seagulls there, the only purpose of flying is to survive. For survival, they used to just go fight, find the food, and just settle once their tummy is full. But among this one, in this full group, there was one different seagull. His name was Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So Jonathan was very curious seagull. He could not connect with his folks who were doing the mundane way of living, daily struggles, politics, and hierarchy of the flock. And his was beating with a different kind of rhythm, which was one tuned to the mystery of the wind and the sky. So he was fascinated by something else, and that was flying itself. So he wanted to know how fast I can fly, how high I can fly, and what are the limitations of flight. And he takes a very courageous decision and starts to experiment. He starts to experiment with his speed and with new angles, and he pushes his limits of flight. But the rest of the flock, they were watching him, and they were saying, this seagull, Jonathan, he's a little crazy, he's strange, he's doing something very odd. So they were thinking that he's not okay, like something is wrong with him. Because in the world of seagull, they were not meant to explore, they were meant only to survive. But the flock, they just wanted to fly only to get the food. But Jonathan wanted to fly, and flying was a kind of freedom for him. He wanted to discover more about flying, and he wanted to master the art of flying. So, this somehow represents the conflict between the conformity and individuality. When we are trying to raise our vibrations and connect to the infinite possibilities, the conditioned world starts showing us that this is your limit. Don't try to cross that, because if you try to cross that, you'll not be safe. It is not fine to cross that limitations. So that happened with Jonathan as well. But Jonathan wanted to not see through his eyes. So the lines from the book is says that don't believe what your eyes are telling you. All they show is limitation. Look with your understanding and find out what you already know, and you will see the way to fly. So Jonathan was relentlessly experimenting, not settling to what he was saying. And because of that, the flock banished him. Because if you see, even in the world, when people have a higher vision, those visionaries are rarely understood by the crowd. They cannot resonate or go with that vision. And that's what happened with Jonathan. He was rejected by the flock. They told him that you are breaking the rules of the flock. You're crossing the height limits and the speed limits. Our body is designed to just fly at certain speed, but you're crossing it, so we cannot encourage you to be in our flocks. And they banish him. So actually, in truth, Jonathan did not break the rules, but he broke the rules of flying. He broke the limits of the belief that the flock wanted to put upon him. So he had to pay the price of condemnation, isolation, because sometimes on this path we feel very lonely, outcasted, and we are misunderstood when we are taking up a new kind of practices, and when our thought patterns are changing, when our belief systems are changing, our conditioning, the environment is not very friendly. So even here, what happened is, for Jonathan, his peers and elders labeled him as reckless irresponsibility, and he stood alone, cast out from everything he knew. But he was unwavering with his commitment to his unique path, remained very dedicated to discover about the flying. So sometimes, this isolation, the path that leads to true transformation. So that's when we shouldn't be losing our courage, is what Jonathan actually teaches us in this book. So once he was banished, he continues flying. He goes out of the flock. He will be alone for a very long time, and he keeps practicing. And he will discover a new set of people, like the seagulls, who were actually mastering the flight. And there he gets to meet seniors who started to guide him out how to break the limitation of the body, how to go beyond the uh, height that was designed for their body. And his instructor guided him towards understanding that true flight was not about speed, but it is about presence and perfection. His instructors also told him that body is not the real limitation. It is your belief in limitation is the actual barrier. So he starts flying, and his instructors actually give the meaning of perfection. This is the most highlighting part of the book. At first, Jonathan was believing that perfection means flying faster, flying higher, and improving the technique. So he wanted to become something better at flying. But his teacher reveals something very deep. I want to read this line from the book itself. His instructor tells Jonathan that you will begin to touch heaven, Jonathan, in the moment that you touch perfect speed. And that isn't flying 1,000 miles an hour or a million or even flying at the speed of light. Because any number is a limit. Remember this. Any number is a limit. And perfection does not have limits. Perfect speed, my son, is being there. So that is such a revelation. Perfection is not a destination, it's a state of being. Perfection is presence, because you want to become anything, there will always be a limit for it. You will always see something beyond after reaching that point. So the perfection can never be defined with measurements. And mastery is not about becoming something more, It is the ability to keep your mind aside. His instructor very beautifully says that if you can be totally present while flying, keeping your mind aside, that is perfection, because the limitations, the beliefs are all embedded in your mind. You have taken the courage to break the limitation of the flocks and you have come out, but you still carry self-imposed limitations, which is in your mind. So while flying, keep your mind aside and be totally in that act. Because what happens is you have the freedom to be yourself, your true self. You don't have to become anything. When you are your true self here and now, keeping your mind aside, your true self is already at its highest excellence, friends. It is already having the infinite potential. You will start seeing it. You don't have to put efforts to become something. So the freedom begins when when we stop believing in limitations. So all that belief in limitation is in the mind. So the more you bring your awareness into the present moment, you can keep your limitations away. That's what uh, Jonathan's instructors give him the wisdom about flying and being perfect. So Jonathan here is just not a story of a bird. It's actually the evolution of consciousness, of our human consciousness. Jonathan actually represents seekers like you and me who have refused to accept the limitations of the society around us. And we have begun the journey towards freedom, towards enlightenment, towards liberation. So in this journey, there might be so many hurdles coming up, people saying what you're doing is not right. But we need to understand that the society is conditioned to operate in certain consciousness. While we are raising our vibrations, there might be challenges that shouldn't be stopping us in any way. It should actually allow us to be more consistent and persistent with our practice. So Jonathan shows us that how we can move from survival to awareness by not actually going by the flock, by the society's conditioning, and go beyond our limitations, discover what is above the limitation of our body. And once we get into that path, we will start seeing infinite possibilities. We are not stuck with the limitations of the mind and the beliefs. So, a powerful quote, this is the most powerful quote from the book, which says, argue for your limitations, and sure enough, they are yours. If you start saying that because of this reason, I am not able to do it, because of some people, I'm not able to do it, because of some circumstances, I'm not able to do it. If you argue for your limitations, for sure they're going to be yours. You will be a limited self. So don't show your limitations. Don't buy your limitations, whether it comes from people around you, circumstances around you, things around you. Don't buy it, because our beliefs will define the boundaries of our life. This is what Richard Bach, the author of this book, says. And actually, Jonathan, after he discovered his mastery in flying, he comes back to his community, not to condemn them, but he comes back thinking that there might be young seagulls who are also aspiring to learn flying. So he comes to teach them flight again. And that's the highest mastery, is what Richard Bach says in this book. So, just like Jonathan, in each one of us, inside there will be two voices. One voice keeps telling us that, you better follow the crowd. Don't try to be different. That is safe for you. So, don't risk your life. So, be in that secure space. That's one voice which will keep coming back and back from the mind, but from within, the soul keeps whispering very quietly, and you cannot actually ignore that voice, because that voice keeps telling you the truth about your true nature, and that voice says you are meant to fly. You are not here to settle with your limitations. So, with that understanding, friends, it'll be nice if you go back and read the book. It's a really amazing book, because after reading this book, I couldn't sleep at least, I think, 3 days, because it kept haunting me. It showed my limitations, and it kept telling me that I cannot settle for my limitations. I have to be doing something more. And 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 it keeps saying that what you're doing is not enough. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. So don't have any kind of doubt. Just take that courage, discover, and keep going. Don't stop, because you are meant to fly. So, with that, friends, um, let's intend for the day. I request all of you to close your eyes, and let's intend for the day. Today, I set an intention to release all the beliefs that limit my true potential. I release all beliefs that limit my true potential. I trust my inner wisdom, and I follow my highest path, and allow myself the freedom to fly. Thank you.